Hello, gorgeous women, beautiful multidimensional women. All right. So give me a moment because I want to make sure that the broadcast is live and perfectly up and running. And I am going to also stream this onto Instagram, but the replay is only available here in Vortex of Stillness. So, welcome, beautiful ones. It's such a beautiful privilege, honor to join you here in this space. If you're here live with me, please say hello. If you are watching on the replay, please hashtag replay so that I can say hello back to you and feel into your energy and see you here in the group and just really, really get to know you. And that's the really big um, purpose of this group. You know, in the vortex of stillness, I really want you to flow. I want your energy to flow right through the group. So I want to get to know you. DM me, tell me who you are, where you're from, comment. You know, if you see my posts, if there's something that sparked within you, share that in the comment section. If you want to share who you are, you're so welcome to do that as well. I really, really want to bring this energy, this life force into the space as well, because it is a vortex. A vortex is a place where energy flows. And in this space, the vortex of stillness, we are flowing aligned energy, the energy of the highest frequency of all, because we're coming from this stability, this steadiness, this space that is stillness itself embodied. And that allows us women to channel through our highest creation, our highest frequency of creativity, and be so aligned with what I call the Tao. You know, the Tao itself is such a beautiful thing. Tao in English is the way. You know, there is a way for your creativity to be born. There is a way for love to be expressed. There is a way for divine expression to be expressed. And the way, otherwise known as Tao, is it exists in everything. It exists in us, each and every one of us, priestess, mystic, shaman, clairvoyant, all of the beautiful things that you are. All of us sit together in this circle on equal, on equal level, no matter where you come from, no matter where you're at right now, whether you feel like you've done this for a lifetime and many, many lifetimes and still feel like you're back at square one, or you are just starting, you don't know where you're heading to, but this feels so freaking scary and exciting at the same time. You have a place here, all of you, all of you. All right. So I wanted to come in here today to speak about a couple of things. First and foremost, I really wanted to share something that really came through over the weekend, and I want to start with that sentence, the transmission, and then we'll see where spirit leads. Okay, as always, I want to see. I don't ever script these things, and I just allow spirit to lead me to wherever that message needs to come through, because I always trust that the transmission that lands, that comes through me, is exactly what is needed in this time. So I'm going to allow that to come through me right now. And so to begin with, let's take a moment. Let's take a moment here. Let's take a moment and take a deep, deep inhale into our bellies, connecting with the surroundings all around us, connecting now further into our energy field, our energy body, the unseen that is exactly us as well. I am that. Inhale into the belly and exhale out deep into Mother Earth, allowing Goddess Gravity to hold us, allowing the essence of Mother Earth to nourish us. We all can take up space completely here. No need to squeeze or adjust or fit into a certain box or square shape, pear shape, oval shape, whatever it is. We're just here completely, fully us. So much so that in your mind's eye you can even do that physically, just reaching your arms out. And of course, do this only if you're not driving or operating a heavy machine. Just remember that. But if you can, just allow yourself to hold that energy, take up space above and below, touching the ground, touching where you're seating, magnetizing the energy all back into your central channel. Just bring them all in with every breath. The central channel that runs through the core of your body, that connects you to 2 feet above your head and another 2 feet above that place, 4 feet. That's right, beautiful light is showering down upon you now, and you can perceive it in this stillness. Drink that in through the crown of your head, your third eye. And let's just pause in this space for a moment. Let this light really illuminate the entire cavern in your skull, opening up your third eye, the cave of Brahma. The ancient ones called it the cave of Brahma. Allow the light, liquid golden light, to come down the back of your skull into the space at the base of the skull, primitive brain illuminated. Deep breath into the third eye, bringing light through the third eye, and exhale out through the base of the skull. Beautiful liquid light here in the mind, mesmerizing, hypnotizing. The mind is now anchoring into this light, melting. Allow the light to melt the mind into love. And just swallow your saliva down. As you swallow, just really allow yourself to swallow the golden liquid light down through your throat, and allow that light to infuse the entirety of your neck, inside, in the throat. Let that be really enlivened. Let it travel now into your heart, front and back of your heart, down into your solar plexus again, front and back. Stretch it open. Allow the frequency of the great central sun to ride on in like a dragon riding into the solar plexus. Power of 1,000 suns. Let it really ride in, like, and let it go down, drifting all the way down into the belly. Let the ancient wise ones speak to us here. Inhaling into the belly, let that space below the navel really stretch open. Let love in, let light in. Deeper now into the perineum, if you could, at the base of your spine, the tip of your spine. Let the pelvic bones be infused with light and literally love. You as love, because your focus, your attention is there. It brings love naturally, effortlessly. Let love be here. Let love be breathed here. And exhaling into the legs, into the ankles, into the feet, and out through the feet. You may feel that your body desires to be a lot more fluid. Just allow your body to move. If it wants to sway at the pelvic bones, allow that too. Gently coming back here, twisting the spine. Look over the shoulders. Deep breath in and exhale. And to the other side. Deep breath in from above, down the crown, down the channel, into the belly. And exhale into Mother Earth. All right. Remember to breathe as you listen. Let me know how you're doing. Anything that comes into your mind, if you want to share, you can always share. You're welcome to. All right. Okay. Just making sure that I'm actually live. So let me give me a moment, and I want to just make sure I'm absolutely showing up in the group. Okay. Okay, it looks like I am. All right. Okay. Let me grab some tea. I'm having a beautiful, well-aged oolong today, and it's called Water Dragon. So I've got a lot of dragon energy running through me today. All right. Whew. So I don't know if any of you are feeling this as well, but this eclipse season has been really intense. Intense in a really good way. And the reason why I say this is that I want to first and foremost say that in my world, one of the teachings that I truly stand by is that everything is always happening for us. And the ones who can hear this are absolutely ready for this work, no doubt about it. The ones who are still standing in curiosity, that's okay. And the ones who disagree, that's okay too. But I'm speaking to you, the ones who know that everything is happening for us. The ones who truly know this, even though maybe you're at a place where you're not too sure how that works. But I can tell you, coming from years and years of self rejection, to the point where I would self harm, anorexic, starve myself, be at a place where I was just so mentally critical, abusive to myself, to where I'm seated right now, where I can tell you that I'm here to love, live, and lead fully, no matter what, whether I have it all figured out, that I'm 100% certain that it's gonna work, or I have no freaking clue and I have no certainty. I am here for it. For me to say this, I trust that one of the biggest factor has always been knowing that everything is happening for me. And so when I came to this place of really deep pain the past week, I was really going through some immeasurable emotions that came up. And sometimes emotions tend to come like that. As women, it's truly my belief that whenever we feel something come up for us, it is vital to see them as a signal, to see them as something that is coming up out, maybe even out of nowhere. Like, where is this even coming from? Like 10 years ago I experienced this, and now it's coming up to really, you know anger me, irritate me, frustrate me. Like, and on top of all that, we have the things that are happening all around the world that is probably unconsciously pushing you into a place of like, should I do this? Should I say that? Should I not do this? Should I, what? Should I take part in this? Or Should I take a side even? There has been so many conversations that I've been involved in quite recently in the world events, with really incredible global female leaders. And we have had really powerful conversations about how we can lead in the times like this. And my personal journey, my personal experience is definitely always love, always love. And even though on a greater scale, and I can hear this as like, I'm almost like I can see my soul laughing about this, because ultimately, when we are worried about what we're saying or doing is wrong or is a failure, and let's just move out of the whole concept of what's going on right now, but really in terms of everything that we do, if we're caught up in, I'm not sure if this is going to work, so I'm not going to do it. Um, I don't like to do that thing that I'm doing, but I'm doing it because someone said that I have to. I can't stomach the idea of what other people would think of me if I didn't do it that way. Or like me, for years, people expected me to be someone who would just go with the ride. And then one day when I said, no, I'm not, people would start to, they had actually, they would be like, oh God, what? Suddenly? Like, I thought she'll be fine with everything. And now she's like throwing a hissy fit. Like, to other people, it's like a hissy fit. It's like, what? Why is she suddenly, not going with the flow? Why is she making her own mind up now? Like, oh my God, like endless, right? Endless. I can go on forever with all the scenarios that I have gone through myself and also have helped my clients through. And also some of you, when I posted a question here to ask, what kind of topic do you want me to talk about? What do you want me to riff about? What do you want a transmission on? And I can feel into spirit. I can feel into what spirit will lead me to share. I had someone say, what about, let's talk about a career where you don't want to be in, but then everyone else feels that you should. Um, I mean, take a deep breath there, right? Like, we all are given this one precious life. Let's go back to Tao, the way. The way, or Tao, is a naturally flowing life force. It's an energy that is indescribable. It is known as Tao, but truly, it is the unnamed. It is the ineffable. It's the primal one, where all life begins. And in Tao, if we could see it, let's just take a moment here. If we could see it, it is literally nothing. It's literally nothing, because the only reason why we can see something is because there is a contrast. So you can hear me because there is silence. You can see light because there is darkness, there are shadows. And you can see shadows because there is light. And one of the things that I have really learned, and this is why I love Tao, or in the Western world is known as Taoism, because it isn't like some kind of man-made religion. It follows the way of nature. It has such a huge reverence for nature. One of the masters I have the privilege to sit through and sit with, he would always say, like, winter is winter. And with winter, if you find yourself in winter, you will always expect spring to come. When winter reaches the extreme, the peak, inevitably it will come into a change. It will start to turn. The wheel will turn. The wheel will turn. and it will turn into spring. As with spring, will turn into summer. As with summer, will turn into autumn. And when autumn is finished, it'll turn into winter. But the interesting thing is that it doesn't follow each other. Like they don't turn into each other. They all are singular events, right? But we don't see it that way because we kind of take nature for granted. And as humans, when we stop seeing things as sacred, we start to disconnect from nature. And when we disconnect with nature, that's when we stop seeing everything else as sacred, including ourselves. And so just imagine, like, I'm sure every one of you has some kind of plant at home. And you may notice that certain plants tend to like the sun a lot more than other plants. And you would probably be like, oh, okay, I'll put it next to the window a little bit more. Or you notice like this plant likes to be watered a lot more than the other plants. And you would adjust to what the plants respond to. And yet, the interesting thing is, we don't actually do that consciously with ourselves. How many times have you said, oh, I wish my body could be a lot thinner, or I wish my body could be a lot more flexible, or I wish my body wasn't this size, or I wish my body could be healthier. I wish my hair could be longer. I wish I didn't have this little hair. So on and so forth, right? And I can even go far further to say, how often have you found yourself saying, oh my God, I can't have this flu right now. Like, this is the worst time to catch a flu or a fever. Like, to have a flu or a fever at a time when I have clients, or when when my wedding is coming, or like when I am, like all the things, right? And yet, if we had some sense to treat our body the way 1% of the way, let's just put it that way, or 30%, let's say 30% of the way we treat our houseplants or our dogs or our cats, imagine how different you would feel. And this goes deeper than just the physical health, but it is the foundation. It really is the foundation. Like, if we can't treat our bodies as a sacred place, how are we to truly anchor in the divinity, the divine codes that we carry within us? We are ultimately all made of energy, spirit. We are all beautiful presences, spirit that is timeless, spirit that flows beyond time and space. Going back to Tao, we are that nothingness to begin with. And when we start to come into the density of this planet, energy starts to form into something the eyes can perceive. But let's never forget that at the very, very, very start, the genesis is the formlessness. It's the energy, it's the nothingness. And we are that. And that is why when we come back to the work that I do with my clients in my sacred space, in my containers, in my mentorships, in the quiet revolution inside at Mysteries Gate, which is closed for application already right now the entire year. So we've got some amazing, exciting things coming up ahead inside my world. So stay tuned. But like even in Dragon Clouds, my one-to-one mentorship, all of the places that we do the work, my work is always about how can we go back to the energy so that it is so malleable that we can transmute it and we can mold it into the highest frequency of all, because the energy needs to flow. It flows. It either flows or it is transmuted. And so when we go back to that in our body, first and foremost, we can get in touch with the energy of the cosmos and allow that to be streamed in coherently. And as it flows in, it supports us in our health, in our manifestation, our creation, in everything that we are. And it is being expressed as us. You can imagine like it's light coming in and it's coming into our cells, into our bones, it's forming all of our muscular structure, our skeletal system, and it is radiated out of us into our reality. That is an idea that I wanted to start to seed in your mind so that you understand that you are the gateway. You are the gateway for this uninterrupted crystalline energy. So once it starts to move through us, we are like the filter, we're the vessel that allows this light to move out into the world. So, how we perceive the world is that the energy that courses through us, we are the source of our reality. We are the source of love. We are the source of wealth. We are the source of freedom. All of the things that you can feel and experience in your life here and now. And so, if you are in a place where you realize that, okay, this is not exactly what I want to experience anymore, and I'm ready to release it, I'm ready to let it go, you gotta make that decision and actually do what you're saying. In the same way, when you say, I'm ready to step up and step in, I'm ready to play big, I'm ready to play bigger, I'm ready to lead, then your declaration is the first step and you have to walk the path. It isn't something that you create in your mind and it's like, boom, the universe will deliver and I don't have to do anything. I'm sorry, you are the universe. You are the universe. So when you make that declaration, when you say, yeah, I'm here to play big, what are the things, the aligned actions to take? Because these are also manifestation, manifested as thoughts, as intention. Intention comes after the vision is seeded in you. And so the intention to play big, it comes through as another set of actions. And the actions have to be taken for the vision to be anchored in the reality as what we call creation, manifestation. Your masterpiece as the artist of your life. It doesn't land, it doesn't exist if you didn't put your paintbrush on the canvas and paint it. Okay? So when I realized that so many women, incredible, intelligent, gifted medicine women, shamans, psychics, mystics, light workers, coaches, mentors, guides, whatever you name yourself, When I realized that we tend to play so fucking small, and don't ask me why I'm swearing because that is who I am, what I do. When I realized that we play so fucking small, when we are in a place where we stop, start, or we look at the most minute things like why questioning, really, questioning. Why am I the chosen one? Why am I feeling inadequate? Why do I feel I want to do this, but I can't do it? Like, stop doubting the reason why you've been chosen. This is the wake up transmission I really want to land for you today. Like, really, you have been chosen. Your soul is waking the fuck up, and you are asking, why am I chosen? Why is life being so difficult? Why do I want more all the time? Well, let me tell you this. Society has conditioned you to feel bad for wanting something different and something more. You are a creator of your life. Of course, you would want more. You're not meant to sit in the same place at the same level of knowledge and wisdom and knowing and experience forever. You're not going to remain as a baby at 1 year old forever, just as you are not going to remain as an adult in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s. Like, even the age is just a man made measuring tape. If we can really experience ourselves as sacred, just as we experience everything as sacred, whether it is an ending in your life or a new, fresh opportunity for beginnings, you are going to feel and experience life so differently. And this is why one of the things that I really, I really am so honored to have the privilege to share and carry as a lineage that I practice called Cha Dao. And there's no coincidence why it's a Dao. It is the way of tea. In Cha Dao, we appreciate the imperfection in life. We appreciate the very free form, natural flow, the asymmetrical design of things. If you've ever been to my tea ceremonies, if you are my client, you know what I'm talking about. Like, my teapot has like tree bark texture on it. My tea bowls, not one of them are the same, even though they come in the same batch, but they have different strokes and different dots and imperfections to them. I remember, like, and this is something that I really that I feel I'm here to lead as well. Like, in my own culture as a Chinese, I was born in Malaysia, so I'm a Malaysian, but I'm born Chinese. My lineage is pure Chinese. When I talk to my peers, when I go home, even with my family members who are older than me, the previous generation, you know, they have been raised in a cultural revolutionary period where they don't they don't quite appreciate the imperfections. They have grown up in a conditioning where things have to look perfect, things have to be a certain way, business has to be a certain way. As a person with a successful life, your life has to be a certain way and it has to be immaculate. And I remember, even in the smallest things, like my tea bowls, I remember my mom was so funny. Like, she would look at my bowl and she would look at the teapot and she'll be like, why do they look so worn out? She literally said that. And she was like looking at my tea scoop, and the tea scoop is actually like a broken bark. And it was made into a tea scoop, and it was so funny, like just seeing like how she said, like, it looks so gnarly, like maybe get something that's a lot more polished, and it's such a, like, I see it as such a quintessential and quirky part of my upbringing now. But I can absolutely, imagine that if I hadn't dealt with this, um, what you would call wound or trauma, I would probably be so triggered, and I would probably be like, no, maybe it's not meant for me to do this whole tea ceremony thing because everyone doesn't get it. Nobody gets it. They won't understand why we're drinking, uh, living tea that costs so much more than the normal tea bags and things like that. Like, there are so many things, but I moved through the experience of really going inward deep, like really deep. And it's a practice that I do all the time. Like, I call it a practice, but it is a way of living, right? It's a way of living where we start to really appreciate everything as sacred. So even my anger is sacred. Even my resentment for myself is sacred. My sadness is sacred, you know, and that allows me to meet myself fully in me before I go out to meet anyone else in the world. And if I met someone out of the blue unexpectedly, making me feel really shit, right? Like, let's put it that way. My first intuition is, why is that making me feel this way? Instead of saying, well, they shouldn't do that to me, they shouldn't do this to me, they could have been nicer to me because my whole week has been going so well, and then now this person has to come over and ruin everything. Like, kind of start to track your way of speaking, your way of thoughts, and you'll be surprised at how much you actually turn your gaze outward instead of inward. My clients who've worked with me, they know this because I take, like, I don't, honestly, I have like no BS when I talk to them. Like, I lovingly do this, obviously, but I would absolutely point out to them, like, what does it matter to you that what they do, it never should move you. You are immovable. You as the vortex of stillness, you have the power to change the way you look at things, but never expect other people to change for you to feel better. Likewise, don't expect them to do really shit things to make you feel bad, because they won't. They can do whatever they want, and you will still feel empowered, seated, centered. And to be honest, you can go even further in this work where, I have clients who work with me over a year now, going from a 3-month container to a 6-month container, or like from a 4-month container into a 1-year container. Like, they can start to realize what I'm talking about, where when we are aligned with Tao, and we're not pushing and we're not forcing our will on anyone, and we're not hoping that things outside of us will change for the better, then we will feel better, or that then we will be given the opportunity to do what we want. The waiting is the one thing that is causing so many of you to feel stuck, to feel hopeless, to feel not enough, not confident, not trusting. You gotta understand that the only person who can change this situation It's you. Even for anyone who comes into my DMs and ask me like, okay, I really, really want to work with you, but um, I don't have the money, or like I'm not 100% sure. Like I would just lovingly tell you when you're ready, when you actually come in with full personal power, that you know no matter what, this is going to fucking work. I'm here. I'm ready. Because I am not the creator of your life. You are the creator of your life. I am not the source of your divinity. You are the source of your divinity. I am the source of my divinity. I am the source of my purpose. I am the source of my wealth. I am the source of my wisdom. I am the gateway for the wisdom of the cosmos to ride in. All of us are, but ultimately, I am the source because how I perceive the world, how I act in the world, how I express the wisdom of the cosmos, which is available to all of us, which is within all of us, that I am, but I am not your source. So, as a teacher, as a mentor, my work here, I have full trust in my power, in my potent medicine, but it is not going to work for both of us if you step in wishy washy, not sure. Like, there are so many, I mean, it's hard because there are so many things out there that perpetuates that kind of energy, right? They try to convince you, they try to show you why they are the best. But I'm not interested in that. I'm not, because deep in my heart, I know that in unity consciousness, we all have the power. We all have this immense power within us to change, to transform, and ultimately reclaim our truth, to reclaim our power. We all have that. So when I see you, I don't see someone who needs convincing. I don't see someone who's weak. I don't see someone who is unholy and needs to be fixed. I see you as whole. I see you as healed. I see the power within you, even if you can't feel it, you can't see it. This is why the work happens, it shifts things so quickly when a client says yes to working with me. Because by the time they step in, most of them are saying, I'm doing this for me. This is for me. And this is it. Like you have been doing this life for other people your entire fucking life. It is time now to do it for you, to create for you. What do you want in your life? What do you desire in your life? It's never too late, it's never too early. Whatever that is, that's just your ego, that's just your protective personality speaking to you. Oh, look, like A and B and C are living a freaking good life even though they don't like their jobs. Who am I to complain? Or look, A, B, and C and D, they are riding the high life of so many clients. Like, who would want to pick me? So on and so forth. And I'm here to remind you that you can continue to play small. You can continue to believe in all those chatter, those insane chatter, or you can start to fucking live your life now. And why do we want to have mentorships? Why do we want to come into a beautiful mastermind with women who are doing the same thing? raising their frequencies, living their fullest life, leading and loving even in the hardest, most difficult circumstances. Like, why? Well, let me tell you this. When I first started my awakening journey, I was, doing the things of like going into the rabbit hole of YouTube videos and all of that stuff. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I think that's generally how I felt. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I bought all the books, I bought all the stuff. But I wasn't really sure where I was going with this. Like there wasn't like someone to say to me like I'm doing it right or wrong. Or not even in the sense of like right or wrong, black and white, but rather like why am I doing this? Like what is the purpose of doing this? And I could spend hours and hours just chasing invisible shadows. And then I found mentorship, and it freaking raised the bar for me in such a short time. Not because I was taught to do what they think I should do. Trust me, I had teachers like that, and I learned by contrast that that's not for me. But the really amazing mentors and teachers that I've had the privilege to really sit with and work with in tea, in Taoist alchemy, in business, in relationship, in quantum science, like I recognize that a singular message has always been trust yourself, don't ever change yourself for others, because ultimately the only person that exists is you. And this is a very high level conversation that I invite you into. Come into my mentorships and you will understand, you will see it all for yourself, and you will embody this experience. What does it even mean? Like, ultimately, there's only one of you that exists. I always wanted to put it in a way that really fluently and coherently starts this conversation. And one of the conversation is that there is only one of you here. And what that means is that all of the things that you're seeing in the world, everything that you are experiencing right now, is a fractal of who you are. Just a fractal. So, for example, that boss that you really hate, or the husband that you married, but then you didn't really realize that you're getting so different now. You're awakening to your soul and you're finding yourself coming out of love. All of the fractals. And of course, there are the beautiful things of meeting that mentor or meeting the soulmate of your life, um, the sisters in the sisterhood that you've always dreamt of, and now it's coming to reality. So I'm trying to pull out examples where there could be things that are completely in alignment to your dreams, and there are things or people that are completely out of alignment. Like it's not what you want in your world. You don't want that. Equally, these two things have to exist for you to differentiate that, this is what I want. This is not what I want. Because remember to the beginning of my conversation, and if you missed this, hello Lindsay, I think I see your name pop up. If you've missed it, you can catch the replay in the Facebook group, Vortex of Stillness. So the replay will be there. But at the beginning, I talked about nothingness, Tao as nothingness. And in nothingness, this nothingness is also what we call the quantum field. It is also what we call the place of manifestation, where everything exists, limitless potential exists. Some people call it the void. Some people call it the quantum field. Some call it the unified field, source. So just bear that in mind as I speak interchangeably, but feel into the frequency of limitless potential. Limitless potential means everything exists at the same time. And in the moment when everything exists at the same time, that means if you as a human being going in with your perception, you won't be able to pick something out as, my desire. No, I fear this. This is shit. This is what I want, right? Because they are all vibrating at the equal frequency. They are vibrating at the same frequency, and therefore you can't see differentiation. You can't perceive differentiation. So by the time it becomes something that you see, in my reality, that this is what I want, this is not what I want, you are already in the dimension of duality. In duality, and that is the beauty and sacredness of being human, we can perceive duality. So we know, in contrast, this fractal is showing me, well, that's really not what I want in my life. That's not my truth. I release that. This, yes, I want more of that. More, please. Yes, please. Thank you. It can be literally as simple as this. However, things start to get complex. Things start to get complicated because our overthinking mind, our logical mind, and place on top of that all the conditionings from outside of us, we start to measure, critique, we start to get into a frenzy, we start to wonder, what would that person think if I did this, and then they don't approve of it, and then what? That's when things start to get really complicated. And I always like to say this: the mind likes to make things really complicated. The mind doesn't like things simple at all. When something looks simple, the mind questions it. The mind thinks, can it be that easy? Really? And this manifests in women's lives in so many ways. One of the things I see very common is women that are unwilling to receive goodness in their lives because they believe that they need to work hard for it, because they think that they have to really grind their ass off to get what they want. One of the examples I can give you is this. When I put a free masterclass out, when I say this is for free, this is for you, I don't attach I don't attach a need to, oh, I gave this to them for free, so one day they need to repay my favor. One day they need to sign up. I need them to sign up. I need them to be my clients. If they signed up for my free stuff, that means they will, because I did something good for them. No, I would never allow that in my space. And I teach this to my clients really deeply, to be embodied as well. Because you may know this, you may hear me say this and you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But you will, if you are not embodied, if this doesn't anchor into your subconscious level, you will still act in a way that is carved by years and years of unconscious pattern. And this is why a lot of people will always say, like, I read all the books, I do all that, I meditate, I go to sound baths, I do all the plant medicine journey, but I come back and I'm like back at step one, and I hate my father, I hate my mother, I hate everyone. Why? Well, you haven't actually gone deep down to the root, which is in your subconscious. Your subconscious is the one that runs the show. You can consciously get it, but the subconscious is still running on that pattern, on that frequency, on that energy. It understands that, it's familiar with that. And so this is what we call self-sabotage. But what it really is and requires is for us to go back into the energy which exists now in your body as we speak. What is energy? It's formless. We can't see it, but you can feel it. We all can. I can tell you, go back 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, maybe yesterday. Ask yourself, what was the thing that really fucked you up or like really stressed you out or made you really angry, frustrated? And I say, feel it in your body. I don't want to hear the story. Just go into your body and feel it now. Where is it in your body that you can feel it? Where can you feel the tension, the charge? And you can 100%, I guarantee it, you can pull it out right then and there. You can feel it. Some people may take a moment because they may have never even gone into their body to feel anything. All they did was process it in their head, emotions, 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 stressful mental exhaustion of overthinking, overanalyzing the story over and over again in their mind. And therefore, there is nothing beyond here. And the mind cannot resolve emotions on its own. It just cannot. That is why the integration of mind, body, and breath, or spirit as we speak, breath and spirit, they are the same in my world. These three things have to work in tandem. They can't work on its own. They just cannot. So if you ever have come across this where, this person is like, yeah, I got into breath work and everything is so fucking amazing. And then their actions are not really aligned with what they're saying. Why? Hyper focused on one thing doesn't yield an integrated result. It's not embodied. And I speak from personal experience. I've learned this my own way. I knew that at one point, and I spoke about this a couple of times before, but I want to bring this in because I really had a moment when I had a wide open awakening earlier this year. After journeying on Tao, as we talk about the way, working with tea and having all these amazing multidimensional openings, this year I actually had a really profound, I can't even name it, like it was like a universal impulse exploded in me, and I heard words, I heard messages, and yet I couldn't quite anchor it into me. And what preceded were months of unfolding, of coming back, of trust, unwavering faith in something that is so a lot bigger than my physical self. And I know now that that had to happen so that I can go and teach this. And of course, I had to experience it first so that I can be so humbled to tell you this, that no amount of ritual, books, exercise, practice can ever land if you do not allow yourself to enter into the mystery, the unknown, that's something that is so sacred that we have, as humans, most of us, not us here in the group, I trust, but most of us have really forgotten. If we could enter into the mystery, even right now as I speak, you can feel the frequency in your heart. If you could take a moment to close your eyes, if you can, wherever you are, you can feel the frequency of something that is unnamed, the mystery taking over. something that wants to tell you your truth, and you have resisted and you've covered your ears for years. Now is the time to listen again. As a child, you have listened before the world started to cloak you in all its ideals and conditionings. As a really young child, you have heard her speak. You have heard her speak, you've played with her, you have allowed her to be in your sacred space, and then you forgot. Deep breath. There is only one of us here. And it is the time, my beautiful woman, it is time now to really stand in your trust, in the trust that you have for yourself. And it has to be unwavering if you are here to do great things. And let this be known. You can go out there and be a global leader. You can go out there and share your voice on a global platform, or you could be doing the work that you're here to do, whether it is in a workplace, whether it is in a raid tent, in a folk village, whatever that is, even in your own home. Everything, like in Tao Te Ching, the ancient text of Tao, everything starts from your home here. If you are not walking the talk, how are you to expect other people to respect you, to love you, if you do not respect and love yourself? Right? We all want all the things, but we don't realize this. Hello, Rachel. Beautiful one. So, can we come back to treating ourselves well? Can we start to love ourselves unconditionally? Stop beating ourselves up. Stop allowing others to penetrate our world and treating us with disrespect. I'm well, Rachel. Nice to see you too. So going back to why, why would I always invest in a mentorship or a teacher, is because I want to know what I'm doing. I want to know why I'm here to do what I'm here to do, whatever the practice is, whatever the things I was channeling. I still remember at the beginning of my awakening journey, I was channeling so much, but I really had no idea what I was doing. Like, I had no idea that it was to anchor the frequency in the body. I had no idea that I was working with the what I call, the Tao or the quantum field, um, until I started to really work with different people and started to really bring in the sacred wisdom that they have carried with them for so long, and bringing that back into my knowing, bringing it back to my wisdom. It became my wisdom because I embodied that, because I integrated that. This goes beyond pulling a tarot card. This goes beyond, going to a temple because you need to pray to the gods to give you something. This is not sacred. Sacred means when I'm washing the dishes, I feel the divine. When I'm walking through the beautiful jungle, the forest, I can feel the divine. When I am watering my house plants, as I was saying earlier on this conversation, I'm feeling the divine. I'm feeling the sacred. I'm feeling the sacred within me. When I feel unwell, I feel the sacred in me telling me to rest. This is where I really want to bring the conversation to, because I don't ever want you to feel like there is this end destination that we all are going to. We are timeless beings. We're always evolving, even as we have died, right? We are going towards the next timeline. Death is only a beginning of something else. And ultimately, when we are channeling, or when we're doing what we're doing, when we're envisioning, how are you leading yourself? First question, how are you leading yourself? Are you still stuck in the same place that you said you were going to get out of 10 years ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago? Or are you literally taking the aligned action because you have received the download and you're saying, yeah, okay, I trust and I go, even though in the physical, I cannot see the evidence yet? Because truly, we're so freaking done with playing small. Honestly, like, God forbid if I could scream or shout on top of my lungs, like, we are so done here. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's stop avoiding our anger. Let's stop avoiding those really, the parts of you that you felt like you had to hide, the parts of you that you felt like it's not enough. Like, honestly, any one of you, if you feel like I'm not enough, that's your mind doing the talking. And yes, you are not enough. The mind alone, doing all its work, controlling you, pulling the punches, of course it's not enough. You gotta come back in here. You gotta come back here, work with spirit, work with your body. What are you doing with your physical body? Do you call yourself a psychic, a light worker, a channeler, but you don't even treat your body with respect? Do you connect with something, but you think it is beyond you? And so you create this gap where this thing out there is the one that is telling you, that has to be the thing that tells you what to do. Instead, you're not taking responsibility. You're not claiming back your power as the co creator of your life. I have a teacher who said this that I love. You go first, the universe responds. You go first, the universe responds. You go first, the universe responds. And it comes back to why I've said to my clients as well, if you've worked with me, you know this. The Tao is a really compassionate teacher. Tao, universe, same thing. Because if you didn't get the lesson this time around, if you didn't get the upgrade this time around, right? It'll come back. It'll come back. You quit your job because you want to run away from that thing that you didn't want to face up to. You quit a relationship that you didn't want to face up to, and you left before you even resolved that fear in you. It comes back. 100%. It comes back. Just like, I want to tell you this, what happened last week. Oh my goodness. I faced up to my inner Medusa, my inner Kali. If you don't know these goddesses, look them up because they're so powerful. They came in slaying and firing and burning shit up. And this time around, when they came up, it was a very old sisterhood wound in me. And I said, I'm not gonna run away. I'm gonna face you head on. I'm gonna meet you. I'm gonna embrace you. And I sat with the pain. I sat with the tears. I sat with such immense pain. Like, I can't even tell you. And when I say I sat with it in my body. I felt it. I felt it in the guttural pain that was knocking in my stomach or stomach. That's how I pronounce it, my belly. I felt it in my solar plexus. It was like someone hit the wind out of my body. I felt it in my heart. I felt it in my throat mostly. And I knew it was a lot to do with not speaking my truth, not speaking my truth to the nearest and dearest. I can sit here and speak truth, but why couldn't I speak truth to the sisters, to the loved ones? And so I did the alchemy work that I teach my clients as well. And it brought me to the next level that I can't wait, that I literally know I'm here to really share. And I took the action, right? I took the action by going back to the sisters, telling them, this is how I feel. And I never pointed a finger at them. I never said, you made me feel like this. You did this. Instead, I said, this brought up a really big sisterhood wound. And I know this is for me to alchemize. So I just want to thank you all for holding space for me as I move through this difficult moment. And they just came back to check in with me. They kept checking in and they listened as I speak. They held space for the pain. And so, my question to you is, do you even have a place like this? Because if you are looking for one, I want to welcome you into my space. All of who you are, just as you are welcome. Come into this space just as you are. Because as leaders, we have to stop thinking that we have to be perfect. As women, we have to stop thinking that we have to work hard or give up a part of us or sacrifice ourselves to get something. If you cannot open yourself up to receive, it's really freaking hard to have all you want. You want the love, you want the wealth, you want all of that, but like you can't even say thank you when someone gives it to you or invites you into it, then that is something to look at. And if you need cajoling or convincing, all of those stuff, then that is also something to look at. Like I spoke about earlier on this conversation, which I'm not going to repeat anymore because I know I'm going over time. But here's the thing, as a leader, lead yourself. If you want something, go for it. You are not here to play by someone's rules. And you know this because you can see beyond the physical. You can feel, at least. Some of you can feel it, some of you can see it, right? But why aren't you taking action in alignment with that? Why are you still living in a way that pulls you back into scarcity, pulls you back into not enoughness? Why? Does this fear, Rachel, I think highly recommend you to go back to the replay because I spoke about what it meant if you feel like everyone around you is blocking you or stopping you. It's never been about everyone else. It's always been about you, yourself. And I know it's not an easy thing, but it can be an easy thing because the mind is the only one that says it's not easy. Let's put it this way. I want to repeat that. Easy, not easy. But it can be an aligned action that you gotta take. Like it's a decision you have to make. Do you want to live your life because everyone said you need to live your life that way? Or do you want to live a life where you are living, loving, and leading, serving fully because you decided, because you chose it to be. And then everything else will start to manifest around you to support you. I also spoke about this previously, so you want to really go back. I spoke about how fractals in your reality are showing you they are in alignment with who you really are, and also there are also fractals that are showing you it is not in alignment with who you are, and so you're not going that way. But if you are talking about how, like, notice the way you're saying it, right? If you're saying things like, I'm just going to scroll up and say what Rachel said, my parents are trying to block me from doing what I'm meant to do. Notice that. Give yourself so much compassion. Give your mind so much compassion, because that is your mind saying it. That's not your soul that's saying it. That is not the true channeler that's saying it. That's not the true leader in you that's saying it. Let's be real. Let's be honest. That's not. That's your mind twirling you around its little finger, and you're playing by its rules. When what you can truly be doing right now is say no, because my parents is a fractal of my creation. And you know what I'm saying, Rachel. You know that. Everyone here who's listening to this, you know that. My my parents is a fractal of my reality that I created, and I can also create a reality where they can eventually either support me, or I can neutralize the feeling of them not supporting me. Because ultimately, it is about what you are feeling, how you're feeling about it. I'll give you an example. Yeah, ego. I'm just seeing your beautiful. Thank you, um, for receiving. And I know that you will, Rachel. Thank you. But I want to give you an example. When I was anorexic, when I was really caught up in my ego's voice, my mind would tell me that my mother was the reason why I became anorexic. My mother was the reason why I felt not enough. My mother, my mother, my mother. And for years, whatever my mom said, I'll get fucking triggered. You know, whether she said I needed to lose weight, or she would say, you don't, well, wow, you look good in that dress. Even that would trigger me, because I would be like, oh no, why did she say that? Now I need to be better. I need to be thinner. I need to look better than this next time I see her. Or if she said, you gotta lose weight, I'll be like, I hate her because she is saying exactly the thing that I feared she would say, right? When I did the work, when I really did the inner work of really meeting my inner Kali, my inner dark goddess, the sides of me that I feared the most, did all the work of recovery beyond the physical, like really spiritual and mental. Like, this is why I say they have to be completely integrated. She's not. She's not. It's a lot to do with um, cultural hap- cultural, what's that word, like, cultural upbringing. So when I did the work, like, literally, when I meet her, when I see her, when I see anyone really, like, it doesn't trigger me when someone tells me that I need to lose weight. It doesn't trigger me if someone tells me that I don't look good on that day that they saw me. Like, people can say whatever they want to say, but it doesn't matter. And in my world, when you work with me, I am really big about not labeling, not labeling in the sense of, and I know it goes so further than the surface of what I'm saying, but I just want to say that every one of us have a journey. Every one of us has a journey, and the more in our heads we are, where we are like, oh my gosh, like, that person is so much better than I am, and they have it so much easier than I am. Like, or, when we're in the comparison game, when we are in competitiveness, when we think that, we're in a business, and what if we have to do that? Why would I help them? Because if I help them, then I won't have enough. Like, all of these bullshit have to really go. They have to go. If you really have a hard time with someone, um, thank you, Rachel, for sharing. If you're having a hard time with someone, and I know that it's happening for so many of you because I've received messages about that as well, the most important thing for you is to find the stability within yourself, because you cannot change another person, and you shouldn't think that you have to, because that's not sovereignty. If we ever feel like we have to change someone for our own lives to be better, then you're not actually practicing what you preach, right? If you are all about sovereignty, personal power, and then you're saying you gotta change someone out there so that your life will feel better, or that you have to cut someone off, and I mean, it's such a deep conversation, and I don't want to go into it because it's not fair. But what I'm telling you is that the stability, the stillness, the peace can come from within you. And by the time you've done the work and you've met another person that has previously hurt you, whether it's an ex or a mother or father or whatever, you will meet them with forgiveness and compassion, the labels that I will use for now. But we will go so much deeper into this when we are working together, because it really isn't, I always say, like, if you truly embody love, if you are love, if you know what it feels like, we don't need to talk about forgiveness, because that is who you are. There's nothing to forgive when you are love, right? So I'm gonna finish off here, because otherwise we're gonna go so deep into this conversation, and it's not fair because there's so much intricacies in these things. But that's why I always say, reach out for support, invest in what's good for you. Um, and again, like I said at the beginning of this conversation, like, I will be here holding space for you when you're ready to jump in. There will be like several spots in my one-to-one mentorship. I do 12 months, 4 months, and 6 months. And I also have self-paced activations that can jump in at literally from like 15 pounds to 88 pounds. Or you could even come in to the Quiet Revolution, which is a 3-month group mentorship, and you get to upgrade to a VIP spot. I have 2 spaces left for that. Like, there are payment plans as well that really allows you to support yourself, because nothing will change if you don't change. I have people in this group that are telling me things that they've told me 3 years ago when they first joined this group. And so this has to end now. Like, this is the one of the things that really drove me and fired me up to come in here to check in today, because if you are not changing anything and things are still the same from the day I spoke to you the first time you came in here 3 years ago to today, then it really is time. And I'm here for the fast action takers. I'm here for the people who are like fucking ready to go, because this isn't about really, playing small. We're so bored with that conversation. It really is about really holding space for the next level of living as a woman. And when you walk your talk, oh, thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, my love. To end, everyone, when you walk your talk, when you live, lead, and love fully, you're not just living your own life for you, you're paving the way for the next generation to come. And when we can really see our ancestors, the one who are alive, and also the ones who have passed, and we can see them with the eyes of compassion, when we can really see the beauty in what they know, Like, we are doing so much generational healing here. Like, it is beyond. It is beyond. This isn't some kind of spiritual, like spiritual shtick where you just jump in and you get into some kind of like, oh, in 3 months I'll be completely healed. I'm sorry, but I always say this: you are already healed, you are already whole. I'm not here to fix you. I'm not here to, put you back together. You are completely whole. You're completely ready. It's just a matter of you releasing your grip on your freaking over logical, overthinking, crazy mental mind that is spinning all these stories that you're not capable, that you can't do this because someone else said that you can't. Like, let's cut the bullshit right here, right now. Whether they are a narcissist or whatever, you hold your life in your own hands. You are the only person who can decide to stay or walk away from a marriage, to stay or walk away from a job, to stay or walk away from your business, to you are the only one who can decide whether you want to blow up your business from 0 figures to 7 figures. You're the only person who can decide whether you want to take your business from a local yoga studio to a global brand. But you've got to do it. You've got to walk the talk. Like, we as women, like, I'm so here for the women who are ready to walk their talk. This is the reason why it gets me so emotional. But like, as women, because so many women are holding their wounds so much that they keep focusing on their wounds and they don't see their greatness and their beauty and their power. In the end, they die in bitterness. Queens fell from their thrones because they're so immersed in their wounds. We have to transmute the wounds, leverage upon the wounds, leverage upon the not enoughness. Oh, you say I'm not enough. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Oh, I feel the fear. Okay, I now know the fear is just an excessive amount of energy vibrating inside of me, which means I am getting bigger. I'm ready to hold more energy. There is more for me to create here. All right, I'm ready. Let's find someone to hold my hand because I'm scared or I'm ready. Of course, it's like, let's find someone to hold my hand because I'm fucking ready. Can you feel the frequency difference? If you say, I'm gonna find someone to hold my hand because I'm scared, can you imagine what kind of people you're actually manifesting? Because you can manifest too from a lower vibrational frequency. Ever manifested a boyfriend or a girlfriend or lover who treated you really badly? Manifested that from scarcity, manifested that from lack. I'm sorry, I'm giving you the straight up talk today because I just can't. I'm really in a place where I have like zero BS. We have no time to waste here. No time to waste. You ever manifested a mentor who fucked you around? Ask yourself, did I go into the mentorship because I was hoping she would save me? No more of that. And you're not going to stew away in that wound and say, never again am I going to go and find a mentor. Never again am I going to be in love. Trust me, I've been in 2 of those places. And I decided, no, I'm going to go love. No, I'm going to go and be with that mentor that I know I'm feeling a really powerful connection with. Because this is my life. I'm not gonna live a half-arsed life just because someone else wounded me. And then from there, I realized like, oh, as I elevated my consciousness, as I anchored in more of these high vibrational light and I received the transmission from the divine and worked with spirit, like I realized like, oh my God, all of these things are actually happening for me. And I wouldn't be here if that didn't happen. So receive the information today. and integrate it by walking your talk. Make the decision. If you need the support, I'm here. Reach out, connect with me. We can talk about what is the great fit for you to work with me. But I will never convince you. I won't do any hard selling because that's not my vibe, and I'm not God. I'm not going to be able to promise you anything. You are the source of your creation. You are the source of your change. You are the source of your transformation. And when you say, I don't have the resources, you're also bullshitting yourself. You are so resourceful as a woman, especially. You have the power of creation. Your body holds the code. Literally, physically, you can create a baby. That's just one of it, but so much more in you. And don't ever allow your energy to be leaked out into things that don't even deserve it. So much. You're so needed here. So much is wasted just because we're focusing on the wrong things. All right. All right, my love. I'm gonna finish off here because I'm gonna go on and on if I'm not allowing myself to stop. But I hope the transmission landed. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you so much, my love. Mwah. And I will see you very soon. Bye.